You are all welcome to today's news analysis. This is where we break things down in simple, clear words so every Nigerian can understand what is really going on. If you care about the future of this country, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us till the end. Because what we are about to discuss is serious. Very serious. We are looking at strong words from Kenneth Okonkwo, a member of the National Working Committee of the ADC. He did not hold back. He did not speak softly. He came out direct. And his message was clear. He accused the government. He accused Governor Okpebholo. And he said what happened in Edo State was not ordinary. Let us start from the beginning. Governor Okpebholo had earlier warned Peter Obi not to step into Edo State without clearance. He said if Obi comes without approval, his security will not be guaranteed. Read that again. A former presidential candidate. A major political figure. And the governor publicly says his safety cannot be guaranteed if he visits. That statement alone raised questions across Nigeria. But things did not stop there. Soon after, reports came out that thugs attacked the ADC office in Edo State. Not just shouting. Not just pushing people around. They were shooting guns. Gunshots in broad daylight. In a political office. This was not a small clash. This was not boys fighting on the street. This was organized violence. And it happened in a tense political moment. Kenneth Okonkwo came out strong. He said the attack on Peter Obi in Edo State was an attempted assassination by the government or their agents. That is not a light statement. When a senior party member uses the word assassination, it means he believes this was planned. It means he believes this was not random. He demanded an apology. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. And he also said those responsible must be brought to book. The timeline is what has made this issue more serious. First, there was a public warning from the governor. It was clear. It was direct. It was not hidden. He stated that if Peter Obi entered Edo State without clearance, the government would not guarantee his security. In a democracy, that kind of statement carries weight. Governors are chief security officers of their states. When they speak about security, people listen. Political analysts quickly picked up on that statement. Many began to ask whether it was appropriate. Was it a simple security concern? Or was it a political message? Because in Nigeria, words from public officials often mean more than they appear to mean on the surface. Then came the violence. Reports confirmed that the ADC office in Edo State was attacked by suspected thugs. The attackers did not just vandalize property. They did not just argue or threaten. Gunshots were fired. In the middle of the day. In a political office linked to a party that has been active in the current political discussions. This is where the issue changed from politics to security. When guns are fired in a political space, it becomes a national concern. It is no longer about party rivalry. It becomes about public safety and the rule of law. Kenneth Okonkwo responded as a senior figure within the ADC. As a member of the party's National Working Committee, his words carry authority inside the party structure. He did not describe the incident as a random attack. He did not call it a misunderstanding. He called it an attempted assassination. And he suggested that it was either carried out by the government or by agents acting on their behalf. That accusation has raised the temperature of the debate. Because accusing a sitting government of being involved in an assassination attempt is serious. It demands evidence. It demands investigation. It demands response. Okonkwo insisted that the pattern cannot be ignored. A public warning. Followed by violence. Followed by gunfire at a party office. In his view, that sequence does not look accidental. He called on Governor Okpebholo to apologize for the earlier statement about Peter Obi's security. According to him, such words can create tension and may embolden individuals who are already willing to use violence for political gain. He also asked that those who attacked the ADC office be identified and prosecuted. He made it clear that anything less would send the wrong signal. If no one is arrested, if no one is charged, then many Nigerians may believe that political violence is being tolerated. At the center of this issue is one important question. Can any elected governor in Nigeria publicly say that the security of a political opponent cannot be guaranteed? That is the question that is driving this discussion. Because democracy is built on freedom of movement, freedom of speech, and equal protection under the law. If a political figure needs special clearance to enter a state, it raises concerns about how secure and open the political space truly is. This is no longer just about one visit. It is about the climate of politics in Edo State and beyond. And as reactions continue to come in, Nigerians are watching closely to see what happens next. Kenneth Okonkwo did not speak like someone who was guessing. He spoke with urgency and conviction. He questioned the logic behind a governor warning a political opponent not to enter a state without clearance. In his view, that kind of statement goes against the spirit of democracy. Nigeria operates under a constitutional system that guarantees freedom of movement and political participation. No elected official, he argued, should create conditions that make it appear as if certain citizens are not welcome in any part of the country. He stressed that this is not politics as usual. Political disagreements are normal. Strong words are common. Campaign tensions are expected. But introducing threats, warnings about security, and then witnessing violent attacks changes the conversation completely. According to him, once violence enters the political space, it damages public trust and weakens democratic institutions. Okonkwo pointed out that leaders must be careful with their words. Statements from powerful offices carry influence. When a governor publicly declares that a high-profile political figure's security cannot be guaranteed, it may create fear and tension. It may also send signals to individuals who are already willing to use force. That is why, he said, such statements should never be made lightly. He also emphasized that the attack on the ADC office cannot be dismissed as a minor disturbance. Reports indicated that armed individuals invaded the premises and gunshots were fired. This was not a private argument. It was an attack connected to political activity. In any serious democracy, such an incident would trigger immediate investigation and strong condemnation from all levels of government. According to Okonkwo, the silence or slow response from authorities raises more questions. He argued that if the state government and federal authorities are not involved, they should act swiftly to distance themselves from the incident. That means identifying the attackers, making arrests, and ensuring prosecution. Anything less, in his words, may be interpreted by the public as indifference or quiet approval. He warned that Nigeria's political environment is already tense. The economy is under pressure. Citizens are struggling with high costs of living. Public frustration is growing. In such a climate, political leaders are expected to lower tension, not increase it. When violence becomes part of political competition, it pushes the country further into instability. Okonkwo further explained that democracy is built on fair competition. Political parties must be free to organize meetings, open offices, and welcome leaders without fear. If opposition figures begin to face threats or attacks whenever they move from one state to another, it creates a dangerous precedent. Today it may affect one party. Tomorrow it could affect another. He insisted that this matter goes beyond party loyalty. It is about national values. Nigerians fought hard for civilian rule. The country moved away from military control to ensure that political power is decided by ballots, not bullets. Any sign that violence is creeping back into mainstream politics should concern every citizen. He also addressed the argument that politics in Nigeria has always been rough. According to him, that excuse cannot continue. The country cannot normalize intimidation and armed attacks. Progress requires higher standards. Leaders must demonstrate maturity and respect for political diversity. The call for apology remains central to his position. Okonkwo believes that Governor Okpebholo should withdraw the earlier warning and clarify his commitment to protecting all citizens, regardless of party affiliation. An apology, he argued, would help calm nerves and show that the state government stands for peace. Beyond apology, he demanded accountability. He maintained that security agencies must treat the attack as a serious criminal matter. There should be transparent updates. There should be clear communication. Nigerians deserve to know who carried out the violence and why. He concluded by saying that the future of Nigeria's democracy depends on how leaders respond in moments like this. Words can either build peace or fuel crisis. Actions can either restore trust or deepen suspicion. For him, this situation is a test of leadership at both the state and national levels. As discussions continue across the country, the focus remains on one key issue: whether the political space will remain open and secure for all participants. The response from authorities in the coming days will determine how this moment is remembered in Nigeria's political history. Many Nigerians are now waiting for clear action, not statements. They want reassurance that political competition will not turn into open conflict. The credibility of public institutions depends on transparency, fairness, and swift justice. How this issue is handled may shape political trust ahead. The controversy has now moved beyond Edo State and into the national spotlight. Political leaders, party members, and ordinary citizens are debating what this moment means for Nigeria's democracy. At the center of it all is a simple but serious demand from Kenneth Okonkwo: accountability. He has insisted that Governor Okpebholo must publicly apologize for the earlier warning directed at Peter Obi. According to him, leadership requires caution, especially when speaking about security matters. Words from elected officials are not casual remarks. They shape public perception and influence behavior. When a governor suggests that a political figure's safety cannot be guaranteed, it creates uncertainty. Okonkwo believes that such uncertainty can escalate tension in an already charged environment. Beyond the apology, he has repeatedly emphasized the need for those responsible for the attack on the ADC office to face the law. In his position as a member of the National Working Committee of the ADC, he argues that failure to prosecute the attackers would weaken public confidence in the justice system. Nigerians have seen many cases where political violence fades from headlines without consequences. He says this cannot become another unresolved incident. Security agencies are now under pressure to respond decisively. In situations involving gunfire and organized attacks, standard procedure requires investigation, intelligence gathering, and arrests where evidence supports it. Citizens expect transparency. They want to know whether suspects have been identified and what steps are being taken to prevent further violence. Silence or vague statements will not satisfy a public that is already skeptical. This situation also places a spotlight on the broader political climate. Nigeria is navigating economic hardship, rising public frustration, and intense party rivalry. In such a context, any sign of intimidation or targeted threats can deepen division. Okonkwo has framed this issue as a test of democratic maturity. If political actors cannot compete peacefully, the foundation of electoral credibility weakens. There is also the constitutional dimension. The right to move freely across Nigeria is protected under the law. Political participation is a basic element of democratic governance. If opposition figures begin to require unofficial clearance before entering certain states, it challenges the principle of equal citizenship. Analysts note that democracy thrives when all parties can campaign, organize, and engage supporters without fear. Public reaction has been mixed but strong. Supporters of the ADC view the attack as evidence of growing intolerance in the political space. Others argue that investigations should be allowed to proceed before drawing final conclusions. However, even among those calling for caution, there is agreement on one point: violence has no place in political competition. Okonkwo has warned that normalizing political aggression could have long-term consequences. Younger Nigerians, many of whom are already questioning the value of civic engagement, may become further discouraged if they perceive politics as unsafe. Voter participation depends on trust. Trust depends on security and fairness. When gunshots enter the discussion, confidence declines. He has also urged federal authorities to ensure neutrality. In a federal system, state governments manage internal security in coordination with national agencies. Any perception of bias can inflame tensions. That is why calls for independent investigation are growing louder. Transparency is now essential not just for justice, but for national stability. Governor Okpebholo has not admitted wrongdoing, and there has been no official confirmation linking the state government to the attackers. Still, the demand for a clear position remains. Political leadership often requires proactive reassurance. Even without legal liability, calming public fear can prevent escalation. The larger question now is how Nigeria chooses to handle moments like this. Democracies are tested not only during elections but also during crises. The response to allegations, the speed of investigation, and the tone of official communication all shape public perception. For many observers, this is a defining moment. It will show whether institutions are strong enough to address serious accusations without descending into chaos. It will show whether leaders prioritize peace over rivalry. As the days unfold, Nigerians are watching carefully. They are looking for concrete steps, not political exchanges. They want to see arrests if crimes were committed. They want clarity if misinformation is spreading. Above all, they want assurance that democratic competition will remain peaceful. The outcome of this controversy may influence political trust in the months ahead. Accountability, transparency, and responsible leadership are now the focus. How authorities respond will determine whether this incident becomes a turning point towards stronger democratic norms or another chapter in Nigeria's long struggle with political tension. For now, the pressure remains on those in power to prove that no one is above the law. Nigerians are not asking for drama. They are asking for fairness. They are asking for protection. They are asking for leadership that reduces tension instead of increasing it. If this situation is handled with openness and justice, it could rebuild some level of trust. But if it is ignored or politicized, it may deepen suspicion across party lines. In moments like this, history quietly records every action. And the choices made now will echo far beyond Edo State.